Hey guys, welcome to another Gauging Gadgets Garmin Forerunner review video. In this video, I'll be doing a full overview of the Garmin Forerunner 645. So this includes going through all the settings and menus, including the activities, widgets, showing you how the watch faces work, and I'll be doing a closer look at the outside of the watch as well, so you get to see just about everything that is available on this watch, so you'll know what to expect if you get it. I'll also be doing a quick comparison between the 645 and the 245, but if you'd like a more in-depth comparison between the two watches, check the description because I have a more in-depth review there. Before we get started, I just want to go over a couple things. I have created several tutorial videos about the Garmin Forerunner 645, so I recommend checking those out if you'd like to see more content related to this watch, or if you're just trying to figure out how different things work on your Garmin Forerunner 645. At the time of filming this video, the music version of the 645 is $380 on Amazon, and the standard non-music version is $320. So check the description, I'll put links down there, and please use those links if you would like to support me. Alright, so let's get started with the look and the design of the Garmin Forerunner 645. The first and most noticeable thing is going to be the stainless steel bezel on it. I think it looks really great, and it actually does provide some protection to the display. As you can see, it sits slightly above the display, but it does provide some protection. It also looks great. The Garmin Forerunner 645 has 5 buttons. It has a light button that can be used to turn on and off the device, as well as turning on the backlight. You have up and down buttons for navigation, a start and stop button, which is also used for kind of a selection or enter button, and then you have a back button. These buttons are all stainless steel, and they feel really good when you press on them. You kind of get some feedback. You can almost hear it as well. The display is going to be 1.2 inches and the resolution is 240 pixels. This is exactly the same as the Garmin Forerunner 245. Beyond the bezel, the rest of the watch is going to be made out of a plastic, and then going to the back of the watch, you have the heart rate sensor right here, and this is the older heart rate sensor. All the newer Garmin watches have an updated sensor right here that looks a little bit different and also is a little bit wider, which means you have less pressure in a smaller area when it sits on your wrist. I really haven't noticed any differences when it comes to heart rate measurement though. You also have a connector right here for charging the device, and this is also an older version of the charging port. So all the newer Garmin watches have a new charging port that snaps in, so the Garmin Forerunner 645 still has these kind of older technologies. The watch bands right here are 20 millimeter, and they're very easy to remove and then reinstall, so you can easily buy other bands on Amazon because that is the standard size, and all you need to do to disconnect it is simply pull back this lever and it will come right off. The factory bands are very soft and they're also very durable as well. They don't hold a lot of dirt. I've been wearing this watch for several months, and as you can see, there's almost no dirt on it at all. And really, I don't clean it, I just wash it off when I'm in the shower. It's very soft on the inside, so I haven't had any discomfort from it at all. I find that while I still have large wrists, the band still has plenty of room to get even larger than what I need. And then the buckle on the watch band is also high quality. It's made out of a very sturdy metal. As you can see, no issues with that at all. So very impressed with the watch band. Now the glass on the Garmin Forerunner 645 is going to be a Gorilla Glass 3. So it is going to be kind of a beefed up glass. That does mean it's going to be harder to scratch, but it's not impossible. The Garmin Forerunner 245 actually has the same exact glass, and I did get a scratch, and I don't know if you can see, it's kind of tiny right there, but that kind of sucks. So you may need to get a screen protector. I will have links to those in the description as well. So now that we've taken a closer look at the look and the design of the 645, let's go ahead and quickly compare it to the 245. As you can see, the bezels are different. You kind of have a smaller bezel. You have that polycarbon, which is kind of a carbon fiber on the Garmin Forerunner 245, and it's going to be the same color as the body. There's a very small difference in the size where the 645 is actually about 1 millimeter thicker than the 245, and it also weighs about 4 grams more than the 245. The buttons are exactly the same, and the screen size is going to be exactly the same. So when you look at the back of the watch, you will see that the 245 on the right has the upgraded sensor. It also has the upgraded charging port. But the bands are exactly the same. Really, they look almost exactly identical. There are very few differences between these watches. All right, so now that we've taken a closer look at the look and the design of the Garmin Forerunner 645, and we've also compared it to the 245, let's go ahead and get into the watch and start going through the settings. The first thing we'll get into is going to be the watch faces. As you can see, I do have a third-party watch face installed on my Garmin Forerunner 645. The 645 is compatible with the Garmin Connect IQ store, where you can get tons of third-party watch faces, apps, widgets, things like that. So you can really customize your watch to get it exactly how you want it. So it's very cool there. But to get into the watch faces, we can see all the built-in watch faces and see what's available there. We simply hold the up button to open the menu, then select watch faces using the start or stop button. And then once in here, we can go through the built-in watch faces. So you're going to have some digital watch faces like that. And then you'll have analog as well. So you have 6 watch faces in total, 3 analog and 3 digital. Now with any of these watch faces, if I select into them, I can either apply them, I can also customize them by determining the layouts. So you can change the layout, and these are all the available layouts built into the watch. You can turn on and off seconds, so it'll show seconds. That does use more battery life, but that can be important to some people. It'll show the live seconds on the watch face. And then also you can change the data that's displayed. So this watch face has 4 data sets available. It has the top and then these 3 rings right here. And you can cycle through those, decide what you want. Tons of options here, including sunrise, sunset, calendars. You can have notifications as well, which is pretty cool. And then they also have like weekly miles ran, different things like that. And then you can save it. And it's really cool with these ones right here that have the ring, it kind of will show a progress bar. So if you do steps or intensity minutes, as you can see with the steps there, it's the morning, so I don't have many, but there's only a sliver of the ring completed. So it's showing how close I am to reaching my step goal, which is pretty cool. You kind of get to see all the data sets available for that. And then once I make the selection there, I can change the colors, you can change the accent color and the background color. Background color, you can only change it between white and black. And then after that, you can save it and it'll turn into your current watch face, which I think is cool because to download the third-party watch faces, you need your phone. So say you're on the go, you don't have your phone with you for some reason, you could update your watch to show important data at that time. Now, when it comes to using the third-party watch faces that you install, you would get to those through the same menu, but you would just see them at the bottom when you scroll down, so you'd go through and they would be there. So you can't customize any of the data sets on the watch, you do that on your phone, but once you find one you like, you simply select it and you apply it. All right, so now that we've taken a closer look at the watch faces on the Garmin Forerunner 645, let's get into the widgets available on this watch. So a widget is going to be kind of a data screen that is available if you hit the up or down button from the watch face. So if I hit the up button, we'll go into the widgets. This will take us to the music control widget. So while I don't have the 645 music, I can still control music on my phone using the Garmin Forerunner 645. So what it's doing right here is I have a podcast app on my phone and I was listening to a podcast. It's taking information from that. So you can see like things like the title of the podcast. I can start or stop the podcast by going into the menu, and you can press pause or play. You can go forward or backwards, which works in just about every app. So in the podcast app, it'll skip forward or backward a couple seconds. And then you can also control the volume on your phone, which is really cool. I like that. If I'm in the shower, I can turn it down, turn it up, different things like that. This also works great with Spotify. But if I keep going up, I'll see other widgets. So this is the current temperature. The Garmin Forerunner 645 actually has a thermometer and you can get the temperature around you. They recommend taking the watch off and just kind of sitting it aside and letting it actually get a correct temperature because your body heat will change that. But you can kind of see that, how that works. After that, we have a compass, which is pretty cool. After compass, we have stationary bike, and they do have widgets for just about all of the different sports. You kind of get a summation of how you're doing that week, shows how much time you've done it, and then your maximum speed. There's also a widget for Garmin Coach, which is pretty cool. Check the description, I have a video on that. But basically, Garmin Coach can help you get better at running. It does a lot of things with your stride and your pace, and also has training videos. They can help you do a 5K, half K, and then a half marathon. We also have a weather widget. This requires your phone to get this information, but it shows you the current temperature, highs, lows, percentage of any precipitation. If you click into that, it also will show you the next 4 hours and then the next 4 days. And as you can see going through the watch here, the resolution looks great. Everything looks very clear and it looks very smooth as well. I really like the way this watch looks. The display is awesome. Going through it now, we have a calendar widget. This shows any activities you have on your calendar from your phone, and it'll show a little bit of information. You can select into it and see more information. It's pretty cool. After that, we have the stress widget, and this widget kind of just measures your stress using your heart rate and different information. One thing I like about this widget is that if you click into it using the start or stop button, you can see the last 4 hours, but you can also go into a relax timer. So say you're having a stressful day, someone made you mad at work or something like that, you can start a relax timer. Say you want to do a minute of relaxation. And what it will do once you start it is it kind of goes through a breathing exercise where it'll help you kind of relax. It'll tell you when to breathe in, to hold that breath, and then when to breathe out. And the best thing is it vibrates. So you don't have to look at the watch face. You can kind of just sit back, close your eyes, and try to relax for a little bit. So it's really helped me relieve my stress, and I do use this pretty often. After that in the widgets, we have your steps, and as you can see, it shows your goal, and it also has a bar that goes around to show how close you are getting your goal. In addition to that, it also has your history for the last 7 days for your steps, and if you go down, it shows your distance as well. The next widget is going to be the heart rate monitor and the last 4 hours in the history. The color on this will change if you hit different heart rate levels, so it can be really easy to just glance at it and see how you're doing if you're in an activity. But you can also select in, see information for your resting heart rate for the past 7 days. After that in the widgets, we have the notification widget, and this just shows all the notifications on your phone. You can configure on your phone which apps will be pushed over to your watch. So if you get a lot of notifications from a certain app and you don't want those to be on your watch, you can turn those off. It's really cool. Another cool feature is you can select into these and see more information about them. So I can go into this email right here, select into it, and I have the options to dismiss it, archive it, and that'll be archiving it within Gmail. And I can also reply. So you can reply to text messages, emails, and even phone calls with a text message. And these custom text messages can be configured on your phone if you have an Android phone, which is pretty cool. One thing I like about this is if you're in a meeting or something, you can just quickly look at your watch, you can read the entire text message, and you can send a quick reply if you want. It works very well. And you can even send and receive emojis. Next, we have weekly intensity minutes, and this is just going to be based on your heart rate. So it'll determine if you met these. It's 150 minutes by standard. You can change that as well. And you can also see a history. And that's going to be all the widgets I have active. The widgets can be customized, so you can change the order of them so it can be easier to get to widgets you prefer. You can also deactivate and activate widgets. Let me get into the menu real quick so you can see all the widgets that were not active on my watch, but you would be able to have on yours. So if I go to the bottom, I can select Add Widgets, and you can see these widgets right here. I don't have active, but they would be available to you. And in addition to that, you can even get third-party widgets from the Garmin Connect store. They have things such as latest Bitcoin price. They have weather radar, which is really cool, and it does work very well. So I recommend checking out the Garmin Connect IQ store. They do have tons of customized things in there that you can get on your watch. So that was a quick overview of the widgets on the Garmin Forerunner 645. Now that we've gone through that, let's go through the available activities. So we get into the activities by selecting the start or stop button. There are two sections in the activities. First, you have your favorited activities right here. So you can see run, walk, yoga, bike indoors, elliptical. We can also go down and see some other activities that they have built into the watch: treadmill, indoor track, bike, HRV stress. And then if you download any third-party apps from the Garmin Connect IQ store, they will show up under activities. That's actually how you start them. So they have things such as games, notes, Skywatch, which is awesome. This turns your watch into a sky map and will actually point you to different constellations, planets, the moon. It's very cool, and you don't need your phone for that to work. After that, if we go down to add, you can see a list of all the available activities. Including strength. And they do have other, which is kind of a catch-all. One thing I want to point out, you can customize these because they don't have a hiking activity, so you can copy the walk activity, then name the copied activity hike, and then you would have a hike activity if you want to. So you can modify these, you can do different things to them. So those were all the available activities that are built into the watch. Let's get into the run activity and then go through all the settings there. So as you can see, the way the activities work is you have different data screens that'll be shown on the watch face while you're doing the activity. So with this one right here, it has distance, timer, and pace. And then if I go down, I can see a new screen that has 3 new data sets: lap distance, lap time, and lap pace. You also get things such as heart rate and heart rate zone. It'll show you your heart rate zone. And then you can just go back to the standard watch face. So all of this can be customized where you can show any data you want to live on your watch while you're in your activity. And we do that by going into the menu, selecting the up button, and going into run settings. So first we can change the data screens. This is where we can change the layout right here. So I can select in right here, change this one. The layout, we can change how many data sets there are. They have 2, 1, 3. Then we can go up to a layout that has 4 data sets. So I'm going to select that. After that, we can configure which data is in each field. So they have tons of different options here. We'll go through all of these so that you get a good idea of what's available to you. Timer, distance fields, pace fields, speed fields, heart rate fields, run dynamics, cadence fields, temperature fields, elevation fields, compass fields, navigation fields, muscle oxygen fields, and then other fields. All right, so those are all the fields that you can show in your layouts on the Garmin Forerunner 645. So pretty cool there. You can customize that as much as you want to. One other thing I want to show in here is going to be add new layouts. So these are the available layouts right here that they have built in. So you can do run dynamics layouts, virtual partner. You can also show a map. So it'll kind of show you where you're at when you're running. It won't show local features such as topography and stuff, but it will show kind of a history of where you ran. You can show compass, elevation, music controls as well. So that's how you would add music controls to your run activity screen. All right, so next in the run settings after data screens is going to be alerts. And this is where your watch will alert you based on different things that you configure. So let's go through all of these. Custom alerts. So you can have the watch remind you to drink based on time, distance, and that's how, and you would configure that completely. They also have eat, turn around, go home, and then custom from there, which you can type out words and configure it exactly how you want. Pretty cool. They also have heart rate alerts, which will kind of keep you in those zones. So as you can see, this is the high alert. So you could say that you don't want to go over the maximum right here. And then your low alert can be maybe easy. So you'll stay between easy and maximum, and it'll alert you if you get between those two. Pretty cool. You can also do custom in there and set like a specific heart rate. After that, we have run walk. So you would set a run time and then set a walk time. After that, we have pace alerts, time alerts, distance alerts, cadence alerts, and calorie alerts. All right, so after alerts in the run settings, we have metronome. Turn that on or off. You can set up the beats per minute, how often it alerts you. And then if it plays a sound or just vibrates, So you can go in here and turn that on or off, and then you can do a preview. The vibration is definitely strong enough to feel. After that, we have auto lap. So by default, the watch will automatically lap every mile. You can change that here to be anything you want. And then the lap alert. Next, we have auto pause, which is pretty cool, where it will pause the activity when you stop. After that, we have auto scroll, which kind of just scrolls through all the data screens when you're in activity, kind of like a treadmill at the gym. You have different speeds you can do there. Next in the run settings, we have segment alerts. GPS, this is pretty important in the run settings. We can go in here, we can set which type of GPS we want to use. You can do just normal GPS, GPS plus GLONASS, and then GPS plus Galileo. So this is going to be where you can make it more accurate depending on your region. And then Ultra Track is going to be much less accurate GPS, but it's going to be a lot better on your battery life. The GLONASS and the Galileo will also decrease the sync time with GPS initially. We have power save timeouts, so this can help save your battery life if you pause your activity. Background color, and then accent colors. You can also rename the activities. And then if you change the running settings and you kind of don't like them, you can restore it to the default, which is always nice. So that's the run settings. In the activity settings, we also have training. This is where you would set up workouts. So you could also set up interval training, segments, and different things like that. So it's pretty cool. Go through here. A lot of this can be changed on your phone in the Garmin Connect app. So I recommend just looking through this stuff. You can customize some things in here, such as the intervals, edit them and stuff, but you can do a lot more on the watch and really get it customized the way you want it. You also have some navigation features on this watch. Like I said, the map is not going to show anything about your surroundings. It's basically just going to show a history of where you traveled. And then the distance, you can kind of see a scale there. One thing to know before you get into this, the navigation is based all off save locations on the watch, which uses your GPS. That means you basically have to be somewhere to save that location for it to be on your watch. So you could set up courses, which is basically going to be navigating between a group of saved locations. You have activities, which is really cool. Say you did a running activity, you could rerun the activity exactly. You can also have the watch navigate you to the start of the activity. So which is really good if you're on a hike or something. Maybe you get to the end of the hike, you want to go back to the trailhead, you could easily have your watch navigate you there. And then save locations, like I said, this is where you can see your save locations and also edit them, change the icon, the names for them. So that was the activities in the activity settings on the Garmin Forerunner 645. Now that we've gone through that, let's go through the control menu. So the control menu is basically a very quick way to get to different items and features on the watch, and we get to it by holding down the light button for just a couple seconds. So as you can see here, we can go through all these different items in here. This is where you would get to the stopwatch and the timer very quickly. You can also get to the flashlight, which just turns the backlight brightness all the way up and makes the screen white. You can actually do a lot with this as a flashlight. You can change the thermostat in your house, but I've also found that it's enough light where if you're outside in pitch black light, you can see the ground. It's very cool. You could set your time with GPS. So if you change time zones, I recommend using that to fix that. And you can also save your location. Another cool feature they have is something called Find My Phone. So if you're still within distance where your watch is connected to your phone through Bluetooth, you could select this. It'll start vibrating your phone, having the light flash, and then it should be making a noise. For some reason mine is not, but it'll be very loud. But another thing I want to show you is it shows the proximity to my phone. So if I put my phone away, maybe not far enough, but it'll show your proximity. So if you're very far away, it'll show red, and if you're close, it shows green. So it's kind of a hot or cold for how close you are to your phone. And then it's very responsive. As soon as you turn it off, it'll stop on your phone. Very nice. In here, you also have some other controls. You can control your Verb camera. You have Wi-Fi. You can turn it on or off. Also get to the compass faster and your alarm clock. While the alarm clock can make a tone, you can also have it just vibrate. So if you don't want to wake up someone in the room with you, the watch can wake you up by just vibrating. It also has a snooze function, so you can snooze it for 10 minutes and then it will come back on. Broadcast heart rate, to where you can broadcast to the Garmin Connect app. And then we have Garmin Assistance. So let's get into Garmin Assistance and incident detection. So these two items require some configuration on your phone via the Garmin Connect app. You basically need to configure your emergency contacts on the app. And that can be through phone number and email address. And what it will do is if it detects an issue, either through an incident during an activity, you fall or something like that, or if you request assistance by holding down the light button for about 5 seconds, let's see it. So right there, it's counting down. I'm going to stop that real quick. But once it counted down right there, it would basically send a message to all of my emergency contacts through text message and email that I have requested assistance. It would send my location where they can see it live on a map even as I move. So if I was in a car or anything like that, it will show it live. And they can help me if I need it. With the incident detection, it'll start automatically counting down if it detects a fall. In the settings, you'd find it right here through safety. And then you can turn it on. It only works in certain activities. So you have to turn it on for each of these activities, and it's only available on these 4 activities. But basically, if it detects a fall, it'll start up the same thing as Garmin Assistance, and it'll send messages to all of your emergency contacts. So it's pretty cool. I haven't found it to be that reliable, and some people say that it's extremely sensitive, so they'll kind of just like run down a hill or jump, and it'll start doing an incident. So I found that the best thing for me is the Garmin Assistance, where if I were to fall and I'm still conscious, I can just hold down the light button and activate that to get some help if I need it. All right, so that was a quick overview of the control menu on the Garmin Forerunner 645. A couple other things I want to get into before we wrap this up. The Garmin 645 is compatible with several sensors from Garmin and other companies as well. And you can actually pair them in the settings here so we can see a full list of everything that it's compatible with, including external heart rate sensors, speed sensors, foot pods, the Verb camera, just all kinds of different things, including lights, radar. So I thought it was important to show you that. And the last thing I want to show you was the maps on the watch. So as you can see, it really just kind of shows the route that you took. If you have multiple saved locations on the watch, it will show those as little icons so you can kind of see how close you were to them. You have the ability to zoom out, to move left and right and up and down. So it's pretty cool, and you can kind of get an idea of scale using the marker on the bottom. So that was a full overview of the Garmin Forerunner 645. Now the main difference between the music version and the non-music version of the Garmin Forerunner 645 is just going to be the internal storage that allowed you to have music stored on the watch. Just about everything else will be the same. The Forerunner 645 standard version still has Wi-Fi. It still has the ability to control music on your phone, so it's not that big of a difference. When it comes to battery life, Garmin advertises that the Garmin Forerunner 645 will get around 7 days of battery life in smartwatch mode, and I have found that to be accurate. When mixed in with several activities a week, you probably get around 5 to 6 days of battery life, depending on how dependent those activities are on GPS. Overall, the Garmin 645 is one of my favorite Forerunner watches. I think it looks great with the stainless steel bezel. It has a ton of features, some of which are not featured on the newer watches, such as the 245. And I've also found that the activity tracking, the sleep tracking, all are accurate and comparable with other Garmin watches. If you have any questions about the Garmin Forerunner 645, leave a comment below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you'd like to see more Garmin Forerunner 645 tutorial videos, check the links in the description. If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my channel, Gauging Gadgets, for more gadget reviews and tech tutorials. Thank you so much for watching.